His name is Li Shufu, and in 1984, he was nobody. Born into a farming family in Taizhou, China, he borrowed money from his father and started making refrigerator parts in a tiny factory. Not cars, not motorcycles, refrigerator parts, the kind of unglamorous, anonymous work that nobody would ever associate with the future owner of Volvo, Lotus, and Aston Martin. But Li Shu was not interested in the thing he was making. He was interested in what making it taught him: how to run a factory, how to read a market, how to scale, how to survive. His refrigerator business grew fast. Then the Chinese government issued production licenses, and his company wasn't on the list overnight. The business was finished. He moved into building materials, then motorcycles. By the mid-1990s, the motorcycle business was booming. He could have stayed there, built a comfortable life. Nobody would have blamed him. Instead, in 1994, he announced he was going to build cars. The room laughed. Government officials told him it was impossible. Private entrepreneurs in China were legally prohibited from manufacturing automobiles. The entire industry was controlled by state-owned giants. There was no license. There was no path forward. Li Shufu didn't ask for permission. He bought 850 acres of land in Lenhai City. On paper, it was for motorcycles. In reality, he was already building his car factory. He bought competitor vehicles and dismantled them, piece by piece, to understand how they worked. When people challenged him, he gave them an answer that became legendary. A sedan is just 4 wheels, a steering wheel, an engine, and a body shell with 2 sofas inside. They called him Car Maniac. He wore it as a badge of honor. After years of fighting, the government relented. On the 8th of August 1998, the first G car rolled off the production line. Nobody outside China paid attention. That was their first mistake. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and the bell right now, because this story is just getting started, and you do not want to miss what comes next. Through the 2000s, Geely grew steadily inside China. But Li Shu was thinking on a completely different scale. The 2008 financial crisis had hammered the global automotive industry. Western brands that had seemed untouchable were suddenly vulnerable, and one of them, one of the most respected names in the world, had just been put up for sale. Ford Motor Company wanted to sell Volvo cars. Volvo, the Swedish brand synonymous with safety. The brand whose 3-point seatbelt, invented in 1959 and given freely to the entire world, had saved over 1 million lives. The brand that European families trusted more than almost any other when it came to putting their children in a car. Ford had lost billions trying to run a Volvo. Now they wanted out. Li Shufu made his move. The reaction in Europe and North America ranged from amusement to alarm. A Chinese company buying Volvo, the brand built on Swedish engineering and decades of safety research. A company that had started making fridge parts 30 years earlier. The skepticism was loud, and it was almost universal. Li Fu signed the deal in March 2010. He paid $1.8 billion, the largest foreign acquisition ever made by a Chinese automaker. He said Volvo would thrive. He was right. Under Jay's ownership, Volvo stopped losing money and started making it. The XC40, XC60, and XC90 were all developed and refined under Chinese ownership. The XC60 won the World Car of the Year award. Volvo became one of the fastest-growing premium brands in the UK, a brand that Ford couldn't save. Li Shufu turned into a global success story, and he was only getting started. After Volvo, the pace of expansion didn't slow down. It accelerated. Li Shufu understood something Western automakers were slow to grasp. The future of the industry would not be won by one brand. It would be won by ecosystems, portfolios of brands, sharing platforms, technology, and manufacturing infrastructure underneath. In 2016, JI launched Lynk & Co., built on the Volvo platform, targeting younger global buyers with a subscription model that legacy brands were still debating in boardrooms. By 2026, Lynk & Co. had become the best-selling D-segment VHEV and markets, including Vietnam, Mexico, and Kazakhstan, with over 860 stores worldwide. Then came Polestar. Born as Volvo's performance division, Polestar was transformed into a fully standalone electric brand, competing directly with Tesla, BMW, and Mercedes in the premium EV space. Listed on the Nasdaq, operating in over 50 countries, Swedish by design, Chinese by ownership. Then came Zeekr, launched in 2021. Zeekr moved with extraordinary speed. By mid-2026, it had surpassed 800,000 cumulative deliveries worldwide. In Hong Kong, it led the entire luxury vehicle market, not just EVs, the entire luxury market with over 40% market share. In Mexico, it ranked first in the luxury EV segment. In Thailand, its MPV became the best-selling electric people carrier in the country. This is not a brand fighting for scraps. This is a brand walking into the most competitive segments in the world and winning. Li Shufu had a particular interest in Britain, the country with perhaps the most emotionally charged automotive heritage in the world. In 2017, Li acquired a controlling stake in Lotus Cars. Lotus, founded by Colin Chapman, one of the most brilliant engineering minds the automotive world has ever produced. His philosophy was radical: add lightness, strip everything unnecessary. Make the car faster, not by adding power, but by removing weight. That thinking influenced engineers at Ferrari, McLaren, and every serious performance manufacturer on Earth. By the time Jay arrived, Lotus was struggling, losing money, running out of road. Jay invested seriously and with a long-term view. The Amira sports car launched to critical acclaim. The elite electric SUV took Lotus into a new segment entirely. Lotus was alive again because of China. But Lotus was not the most distinctly British thing Jelly owns. The most British thing Jelly owns appears in every film set in London. It appears on postcards, on tourist photographs, on the streets of the British capital every single day. The black cab, the London Black Taxi, the LEV CTX, is manufactured by the London Electric Vehicle Company. And the London Electric Vehicle Company is wholly owned by G, the most iconic vehicle on London streets. Chinese. And then there is Aston Martin, the car of James Bond, the definition of British luxury performance. Jelly holds 17% of Aston Martin, making it the third largest shareholder in the company. Think about that. You were watching the return on an investment made by the man from Taizhou, who started with a refrigerator parts factory in 1984. That is the Jelly story. Not the story of China trying to catch up with the West. The story of a man who understood that the fastest way to own the future was to quietly buy the past and then build something the world had never seen from inside it. The West is still figuring out what happened. Li Shufu figured it out 40 years ago. If you have enjoyed the video, then make sure to hit that like button and also subscribe to our channel so you won't miss out any other latest videos just like this. So hit that bell icon so you can updated for upcoming videos. Thanks for watching.